Donald Trump is calling out his own Attorney General, Pam Bondi, for a lack of legal action by the DOJ in prosecuting his own perceived enemies. He posted just last hour, quote, "Pam, I have reviewed over 30 statements and posts saying that essentially same old story as last time, all talk, no action, nothing is being done. What about Comey, Adam Shifty Schiff, Letitia, question mark, question mark, question mark? They're all guilty as hell, but nothing is going to be done. We can't delay any longer. It's killing our reputation and credibility." Ellie and Torre are still here with us to try and make sense of that. So, Ellie, does Trump sound nervous to you?
I don't know that he's nervous as much as frustrated with his attorney general because she has not gone after these people he disfavors. I mean, this is, look, I sort of have become numb to a lot of things Trump posts on Truth Social. I just, whatever, move past. But this is a big deal. I mean, he's overtly, explicitly, publicly telling his attorney general, I want to see indictments of these three people. Now, we know from the reporting that this attorney general who was fired, according to Trump, or quit, whatever, Eric Siebert, a veteran prosecutor who had been nominated by Trump, looked at this case and concluded the evidence was not sufficient. Todd Blanche, according to the reporting, the deputy AG, who I've known for a long time, who represented Trump criminally, he said he didn't think there was enough evidence to charge Letitia James. And Trump's view here is sort of, who cares? Plow ahead. Let's get the indictment and worry about it later.
Yeah, highly frightening. As you said, two people looked at this and said, there is not enough evidence to charge her. And that's just two people at the top. I'm sure all the under people like.
And also, I hate to say it, but two kind of Trump loyalists, right? I mean, it's like, it's one thing if they were objective, but people who are appointed by Trump who are willing to say to the president, we've got nothing. We don't have a leg to stand on.
Had clearly already gotten the message. We want to arrest her. We want to see her bracelets. We want to put her on trial. And they can't find. We can't do it. There's no case against her. Still keep trying. That's dictatorship.
Well, whenever Trump has outbursts like this, especially someone who's a loyal ally, but who other MAGA allies like Laura Loomer have urged him to get rid of Pam Bondi because she's got some enemies, I can't help but to look at it as a distraction. And there's been so much.
This is a distraction?
Well, he's trying to distract.
From what?
From this.
From everything.
Wait, what is he?
No, pointing a finger at Pam is distracting from what he's trying to do to Letitia.
Yeah, because I think he's trying to distract from Epstein because Epstein was starting to get a little more steam.
Got it.
And he now is because Alex Acosta, his appointee, do you think that the story was starting to lose a bit of steam, Epstein, and he is still trying to compensate? That's my view.
I mean, it's all about a smokescreen for Epstein. But where I thought you were going, where we might go, is that when he starts attacking Pam, do MAGA people start to say, oh, we are also on the menu, so we can't just go with whatever he says, because eventually the scythe will come for you, too. So you have to stand up for your own principles.
It's an ultimatum of sorts to the attorney general, right? I mean, it doesn't take a lot to understand what he's saying here. I think everyone should understand that replacing the U.S. attorney in Eastern District of Virginia, or even maybe, I mean, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but hypothetically replacing Pam Bondi, none of that improves the evidence in your case. Right. And the reason that Todd Blanche, who's he was by Trump's side, defended him at the criminal trial. The reason Todd Blanche is not on board with this is because he was a prosecutor right here in New York, and he knows you're going to have to go to a grand jury. You're going to have to, if you can somehow get past the grand jury, and we don't know the evidence really on Letitia James. I mean, we would just be speculating, but he knows enough to know. Then you're going to have to go to a judge. Then you're going to have to go to a jury. Then you're going to have to go to an appeal. And look, Todd was raised the same way I was, almost the same time at the SDNY, and you don't bring a case if you don't have the goods. So I think that's the reasonable conclusion. But changing up the personnel.
I was going to say, like, I don't want to even get into the details or the evidence or the merits of the case. The President of the United States is openly telling on a social media post that he wants his Attorney General to prosecute political opponents, Adam Schiff, Letitia James, and James Comey, who's not even in public service anymore, a private American citizen. I don't understand how this is not. I mean, this just happened, but it's alarming. It's vengeful. It's retribution.
Though there's no real evidence.
Correct.
Yeah, he says.
I think it is alarming to a lot of people, but one of the things that I think Trump is sort of good at is keeping people in his circle who, like, he gives a lot of power to, but who are also at risk
Vulnerable,
themselves.
yeah.
They're very vulnerable. And Pam Bondi is not beloved by all of MAGA. That's been the case for quite a while now.
You see her
She
at
gets-
these cabinet meetings, and she looks, I mean, just her performance is awful. The way she kind of talks to the president, and, like, does this kind of dear leader shtick.
But that aside, they're cool with a lot of that. I mean, like, she has people under her, including, like, you know, Bongino and others who we know there's tension there. A lot of the right-wing podcasts, infrastructure, ecosystem, they do not like her. I mean, they call her all kinds of names if you listen to them, and have very little respect for her. And so I think he knows that, like, she's kind of hanging on to this thing.
Keeps her
in some
vulnerable.
people's view, a little bit by a threat.
And what has he asked her to do? Not on Truth Social, not in public, that she won't do?
Yeah.
That is the question.
There's got to be a fracture at some point. One of them has got to say, this is too far. Like, my children will read about this. My grandchildren will know what I did. Like, I cannot just sacrifice my entire... Like, there's got to be somebody who has some conscience at some level.
You mean like Ted Cruz? Or
Yeah.
because he obviously,
His
you know, he
valiant
got
stance.
humiliated during the election season. What happened to him? He fell in line. Lindsey Graham. What had happened to him? They all fall in line. That's the problem. They all fall in line.
Go ahead.
This will be a test for Pam Bondi because, again, going back to the last administration, there were instances where Trump had public outbursts. He wanted John Kerry indicted, for example. He wanted Obama indicted. But Bill Barr, again, you know, not to defend Bill Barr too much, but he just ignored it. It was like he just waited for the tantrum to sort of go away. But when Trump puts on Truth Social, we can't delay any longer. I mean, that's a direct
not in public
order.
life to capitulate when Trump says this sort of stuff, and you can't see this is wrong.